Shut down. Another big GM plant paralyzed. Thousands of workers sent home, tens of millions of dollars already lost. This strike gets bigger and angrier. Extreme weather, surprise tornadoes, flooding rain, spreading fires, even record snow in June. Our special in-depth report, why so much wild weather across America. Also, summer vacation in the eye of the storm. Would you do this? And Home of the Brave, Father's Day, the surrogate dad who never gives up.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Substituting tonight, Jack Ford.
Good evening. General Motors, the world's largest automaker, is teetering on the edge of a complete North American shutdown tonight as the strike by UAW employees at two key parts plants in Michigan hits the 2-week mark. And the lack of those parts has brought the rest of the production process to a grinding halt. President Clinton weighed in on the situation today, which, if it lasts long enough, could even put the brakes on this country's well-oiled economy. We begin our coverage tonight with NBC Chief Financial Correspondent Mike Jensen.
5,000 workers at this GM assembly plant in Lordstown, Ohio, at the end of their shift today, not knowing when they'll be back, in a confrontation that has paralyzed the nation's largest automaker and angrier angrier by the day.
It isn't about working people, it's about corporate greed.
As of today, more than 100,000 GM workers laid off at 23 assembly plants, shutting down more than 90% of the company's lines, 20,000 vehicles a day that are not coming off the lines. President Clinton today urging both sides to get on with it.
We've got a collective bargaining system which I support, and I think they can work it out, and I hope they'll do it in a timely fashion.
It's hitting GM workers hard in the pocketbook. Laid off members of the UAW losing collectively $20 million a day.
In the state of Texas, we're not entitled to unemployment benefits. So where that leaves us, we get nothing.
Also hurting the company, which is what the UAW wants.
Tell all them folks, all them naysayers that think we're shooting ourselves in the foot, we're shooting General Motors.
Analysts say this shutdown could drag on, partly because both sides feel they have so much at stake, and partly because both have enough money to finance this increasingly hostile war. Mike Jensen, NBC News, New York.
This is all hitting hardest in the place considered GM's hometown, the place where the strike that's caused all the shutdowns is actually going on, Flint, Michigan. NBC's Ann Thompson is there tonight.
Flint, Michigan, where for generations people have gone from cradle to grave with one company, General Motors.
We have been a one company and a one industry town.
Flint Mayor Woodrow Stanley's grandfather worked at GM. So did his brother. His sister is on strike. Stanley collected a GM paycheck as a college student, but years ago he shifted gears, something he wants Flint to do now.
What I would like to see 10 years from now is, of course, a city that's far less dependent and reliant upon General Motors.
There is no choice. In his 2 terms, Stanley says GM has eliminated some 15,000 jobs in Flint. 40,000 jobs have disappeared since the 70s. So the mayor is trying to diversify the city's economy. A defunct automotive theme park is now the site of a new campus for the University of Michigan at Flint. Along I-75, new business borders the highway. It's working. Unemployment here is at a 30-year low. But such developments are little comfort to striker Lawrence Townsend, as the father of 4 struggles with the transition from a paycheck to strike money.
He was going to take a vacation this summer, so that's kind of been put on hold.
Because he's now taking home $150 a week instead of $800.
And that raises the question, is a strike really worth it? In this decade, walkouts have produced victories for both labor and management.
But one analyst believes the strong economy now tips the balance in the union's favor.
They're in a better position because the economy is strong and because
the South all next winter and put the North in a deep freeze by late winter lasting into spring.
Just more crazy weather? Or is something going on? Could it be the globe is warming, and a warmer globe will mean more extremes, not just more drought, but also heavier rain.
Researchers say evidence of a warmer Earth is building fast now. The government's Tom Carl.
Every month so far during 1998, we've broken an all-time record for global average temperatures. This is just unprecedented.
Even the glaciers are melting.
Where glaciers used to be just 20, 30, 40 years ago, we're finding they no longer exist.
Hot temperatures warm the Pacific, bring on more frequent El Niños. The heat also dries things, causes more drought in a lot of areas. But heat also evaporates more water up into the air until it gets saturated. At the National Center for Atmospheric Research, Kevin Tremberth's been following that.
Maybe over the United States, the amount of moisture has increased by something like 10% over the last 20 years.
More moisture in the air means that if a storm develops, more will come down. Statistical studies say that's already happening.
There are clear observations across the United States showing that when it rains, it pours. When it rains harder than it used to.
Precipitation averaged across the United States has increased by about 3 inches. This may not sound like much, but it's equivalent to about half the annual discharge of water that drains out of the Mississippi River every year.
An extra 75 trillion gallons of water raining down on the U.S. already. And some researchers believe it'll become worse in the future. So if you thought the winter in California was bad, or the ice storms in the east, and now the floods, beware, it may be even worse in years to come. Robert Hager, NBC News, Washington.
We'll have more of our special report on extreme weather next. And how's this for a way to spend your summer vacation? Chasing twisters. Yes, people actually do this for fun.
Hello?
Morning, Daddy.
Hi, honey.
Ready for your presentation?
Actually, Daddy's a little nervous.
We know just what you need.
Room service? You ordered me room service?
2 scoops ahead. You're gonna be 2 scoops ahead.
Nothing prepares you for a big day like the hearty goodness of 2 scoops, only from Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Ready now, Daddy?
I'll give you 2 guesses.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran will start you 2 scoops ahead.
Keep it going. Okay, that's enough.
Bayer can relieve joint inflammation and stiffness. Tylenol can't. And taken regularly, Bayer can help save your life. Ask your doctor. Bayer, powerful pain relief and so much more. Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients special.
Line Friday, she sat on a jury that sent a man to prison.
I didn't think he was guilty. I was holding out not guilty.
Now her crusade to reverse his murder conviction and bring him home to her house.
My will's already made out. He's to get everything.
What's going on?
This house will be eventually his.
Dateline Summertime. It's all new. 8, 7 Central, NBC Tonight.
More of our in-depth special report tonight, extreme weather. If you live in the southern part of the country where record high temperatures are being smashed tonight, the place we're about to take you may look very appealing. It's called Lassen Volcanic National Park, located in the far northern part of California. It hasn't been an active volcano area for more than 80 years. But this year, there's something very unusual going on, making it hard to believe the official start of summer is just 2 days away. We continue our in-depth special with NBC's Kelly O'Donnell.
You're looking at the snowiest spot in America, a once-in-a-lifetime 100-year a park record 802 inches of snow, 30 feet since April, 9 feet of snow the week after Memorial Day. It's so bad, most tourists are staying home. The snowpack buried the only road going through the park.
According to our snow crews, they've never pushed snow with this weight. It's really like a glacier.
crews work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week to clear a path. But it's slow going. They cut through only 1/10 of a mile a day.
4th of July, everybody's going to be picnicking, having a good time, sitting around water, most likely trying to cool off, and we're going to be up here pushing the snow.
Visitors get 2 seasons at once. Summery temperatures now climb into the 70s, making it both shorts and snowball weather. At an elevation of 8,000 feet, the sun melts at most 6 inches a day. Many of the park's treasures remain hidden.
Well, this is a hemlock that's about 50 to 60 feet high, and right now it looks like a shrub.
The park's biggest snowdrift is right here, a towering 46 feet. But not everyone considers this a winter wonderland. Instead of a novelty, it's a nuisance for dozens of businesses that bank on tourists. With so few visitors, Beth Glenn's Motel and Restaurant loses $3,000 a day.
Usually this time of year we'd serve between 95 and 110 breakfasts, and today I believe we served 8.
Even with the main road closed, the park is open. But at this rate, a slow melt and overworked crews won't make all this disappear before the snow flies again next fall. Kelly O'Donnell, NBC News, Mineral, California.
Of course, one of the weather extremes that we've heard so much about this year involves tornadoes. It's been an especially harsh year of death and destruction, so why would anyone want to go looking for a tornado? With NBC's Jim Cummins.
There's a huge thunderstorm out here on the back roads of Nebraska, and the 9 people who are jammed into that white van are driving toward the storm. Their objective? Find a tornado. Not for any scientific purpose. These thrill seekers are paying $1,500 to $2,000 each for a 10-day tour of Tornado Alley, meals not included. Their tour guide, David Gold, a graduate student in meteorology at Texas A&M and the owner of Silver Lining Tours. This tour began in Oklahoma City 7 days ago. Since then, Gold and his group have zigzagged across 7 states at the rate of 500 miles a day.
You guarantee them they'll see a funnel cloud?
No guarantees. They have to sign a contract and all that good stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
No guarantee?
Well, you can't be sure that you'll see a tornado.
3 days into the trip, they spot a twister outside New Douglas, Illinois.
Tornado on the ground. No doubt about it. Prepare for a tornado.
It destroys several buildings and injures 2 people.
Yeah, this is a very large tornado. Holy
In a house?
Yeah, house got spanked.
Oh my God.
A half dozen companies offer storm chasing tours. They advertise on the internet. And one storm chaser compared this to a religious experience.
Another one on this tour is Richard Fallon, computer engineer from New Jersey.
It's just different. It gets me away from the office completely. I don't even have to think about the place. I've been called an adrenaline junkie. I do a lot of strange things. This happens to be one of them.
It is a dangerous vacation, standing in lightning, driving through hailstorms, trying to outsmart a twister. Stephen Levine heads another company that provides tornado tours.
I would rather let go of a tornado and be safe than lose a windshield and then risk everybody going through a hailstorm just to see it.
David Gold says this is his last tour of the tornado season. Tonight he and his customers are in central Iowa, chasing another storm cell, looking for another twister. Jim Cummins, NBC News, Ashton, Nebraska.
And still ahead tonight, they sentence Oklahoma City bomber Tim McVeigh to death. Now, that jury makes an emotional trip to the scene of the crime. And when we come back, the buck stops here. Why the nation's largest HMO says it won't pay for Viagra.
You already know how important calcium is for your bones, but did you know that 85% of women still don't get enough? So start your day with Total. It's the only leading cereal that's an excellent source of calcium, even before adding milk. In fact, Total has more calcium than the milk itself. No other leading cereal comes close. Simple, low-fat, delicious. So good, you can feel it in your bones. Total Raisin Bran, Total Cornflakes. One bowl, one great source of calcium.
I need to feel strong.
I need him. Because we all need something different to feel our best, One A Day has created different formulas. One especially for women, one for men, and one for people over 50. One A Day. It's just what you need.
Ah, the good old days of supermarket shopping. When nothing stood between you and your next meal. Nothing. But today, there are materials that help lock out harmful contaminants and reduce spoilage, keeping us safe and the food we eat fresh. Plastics make it possible. So now, the rest is history.
To keep your lawn springtime green, start using Miracle-Gro Lawn Food now. With the new no-clog 4-in-1 feeder, you can apply it with your sprinkler. Goes on cool and wet, doesn't burn. Miracle-Gro Lawn Food for a green lawn all summer long.
Heading up the research team, I do 3 or 4 dives a day. Long hours, bag lunches, but I can't afford to get slowed down by irregularity. My doctor recommended Metamucil. It's not a chemically altered fiber, not an artificial stimulant. The only leading brand with 100% natural fiber is Metamucil. Keeps me regular, gently. So the only thing dragging is the anchor.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Bad news on the Viagra front tonight. This country's largest HMO, Kaiser Permanente, says it will not cover the wildly popular new impotence drug. The company says at $10 a pill, Viagra is too expensive, and its experts declared it not a medical necessity, but a quality-of-life treatment. Now to the hotspots making news tonight. Zurich, Switzerland's 3 largest, biggest banks, make what they say is their final offer, $600 million to settle claims that they profited from the Nazi theft of gold and money from Holocaust victims. Jewish groups called the figure offensively low. Drop! Orford, New Hampshire, and an unfortunate sign of the times. Remember the duck and cover drills of the 1950s? Now a new program to train teachers how to respond to natural disasters includes how to deal with school violence, including students with guns. And in Oklahoma City, the jury that sentenced Timothy McVeigh to death began a 2-day visit to the city where 168 died. The trip was organized by a bombing survivor to honor the jurors. NBC's Roger O'Neill is there tonight.
For Oklahomans, these are the faces of the people who brought justice to the heartland. A hero's welcome today for the jurors who convicted and sentenced Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber. It was just a year ago that these people from Colorado were shepherded to court in windowless vans. Their names secret. They were numbers in a jury box. But after the guilty verdict and the death sentence, a special bond developed. And today the people of Oklahoma wanted to say thank you.
We know about each other's pain now. You don't walk away from something like this untouched. It changes your life.
And the emotion never goes away, juror Vera Chubb.
One reason I have come here is that I believe that the victims of the families, that we're all one extended family now, and I needed to be part of this.
The visit is not without controversy. The attorney who defended McVeigh, Stephen Jones, wonders if the empathy and sympathy jurors are showing now also influenced their decision.
Justice has to be based upon facts and evidence. It must be blind to agony, and it must be blind to sympathy.
Jurors angrily denied the accusation by Jones, and legal experts say while unusual, perhaps unprecedented, these jurors are private citizens and can do what they want. And late this afternoon, the jurors planted a Colorado blue spruce tree in Oklahoma's soil, a tribute to the 168 who died and hope for the living. None of the jurors have ever been to the site where the Murrah Federal Building once stood. But tomorrow, they'll walk this fence line, and they'll see firsthand the pain and the tears that a terrorist bomb caused in the heartland. Roger O'Neill, NBC News, Oklahoma City.
And when we come back, the home of the brave. Tonight, Father's Day, and proof that sometimes the good guys really do win.
You never met my big Italian family, but they love you already. So tonight...
More about greeting cards and really bad ties than really thanking Dad. So, in the spirit of appreciation, we found a father who goes above and beyond the already demanding call of duty that all dads share every day of the year. Here's NBC's Mike Betcher.
6 a.m.
It's time to get up. Let's go.
And Bill Haney wakes up his extended family.
Remember, that's not a jacuzzi up there.
This is Ward Cleaver meets the Wild Bunch, a straight-laced dad with a household of juvenile delinquents whom he is determined to reform. His motto?
The good guy wins.
Every year, this 57-year-old law professor plucks young offenders out of the Los Angeles penal system. They are carjackers, drug dealers, armed robbers, and he moves them into his home, where Haney is part dad, part coach, part Patton.
They have to fight for their future and to continue to move forward. Small steps usually, small steps constantly moving forward, but you have to be relentless when you help them.
Haney, his wife, and his mother feed, clothe, and educate them. He pays for it all. The Haneys become unofficial parents. In return, a promise. The kids commit themselves to an honest life.
I owe Haney my life because he brought me up, when I was all the way down.
He drives them to job interviews and schools, anywhere that will give his boys a new start. In 10 years, the 20 young men who've lived with the Haneys have all gone on to college and jobs. Haney expects not money, but a high return.
I expect to get paid because I want something for me. And that's success dollars, see? I'm not talking about money. I want success.
But Haney is not satisfied with just bringing troubled kids to his home. He helps others who are still in prison. Most every night he comes here, Camp David Gonzalez for juvenile offenders, where he runs what he calls a success academy for about a dozen inmates.
Bill Haney looks inside his cell and sees a mine full of uncut diamonds. His goal, chip away the flaws.
Self-esteem's an emotion.
He has turned this former lockdown wing into a classroom.
You can be the most valuable person on this earth.
What do they think of Mr. Haney?
I think he sees something in us that nobody else sees.
How many of you gentlemen think that you won't be back behind bars once you leave here?
At lights out,
hang in there.
He turns the key and leaves a message.
Don't forget, the good guy wins.
A simple message. Never give up. It is this father's way. Mike Betcher, NBC News, Malibu.
And that is NBC Nightly News for this Friday. Don't forget Dateline NBC tonight at 8 Eastern. I'm Jack Ford. I'll see you this weekend on Today. Have a good night.
NBC Nightly News is America's most watched evening news program.
Sunday, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright on the president's criticism.
If you live in the southern part of the country where record high temperatures are being smashed tonight, the place we're about to take you may look very appealing. It's called Lasher. If you live in the southern part of the country where record high temperatures are being smashed tonight, the place we're about to take you may look very appealing. It's called Lasher. If you live in the southern part of the country where record high temperatures are being smashed tonight, the place we're about to take you may look very appealing. It's called Lasher. If you live in the southern part of the country where record high temperatures are being smashed tonight, the place we're about to take you may look very appealing. It's called Lasher. If you live in the southern part of the country where record high temperatures are being smashed tonight, the place we're about to take you may look very appealing. It's called Lasher.